Hello and welcome to Traditional Painting the Digital Way. So this is my crazy experiment to try and teach people how to paint traditionally using digital painting programs. And the app that I'm going to be using today is called Infinite Painter, and it's from Android. And the tablet that I'm using is a Samsung Galaxy Note Pro 12.2. For this lesson, we're going to be painting old fence posts surrounded by tall grass and wildflowers. You can follow along traditionally either using acrylic or oil painting. I'm an acrylic painter, so that's usually my preference. Here's the brushes that I use. I use a 2-inch flat wash, a number 10 bristle brush, a number 8 filbert brush, a number 10 flat brush, a number 6 flat brush, and a long script brush and a short script brush. These brushes are all synthetic brushes, and I use different kinds of brands. And my preference for painting is canvas board. You can use stretched canvas if you want to, but I just kind of like the firmness of a canvas board. I find that the stretched canvas bounces a little bit too much for me, but that's up to you. The paint that I use is Grumbacher Academy acrylics, but I also use Daler Rowney and Liquitex as well. And these color names will vary from brand to brand, but you can generally find the same colors within all these brands. So just use whatever acrylic brand or oil that you're comfortable with. Now here is the Infinite Painter UI. It's changed a little bit lately in the newest update, but it's basically the same. So here's the brush menu in Infinite Painter, and I'm mainly going to be using the brushes from the paint category for most of this painting. Okay, so here is the projects, and you can go ahead and pick your paper size at the beginning. Here I have imported in a reference of the painting I have done previously to use for our photo reference, and we're going to start with painting the sky. Now we want a grayish look for the sky. So for those of you that are following along traditionally, that would mean you need to use some ultramarine blue and some burnt sienna. Throw in a touch of phthalo blue and use your white acrylic gesso to lighten the mixture up. And I am using, for the Infinite Painter brushes, the Leo, the Vince, and the Angelo brushes. These are my favorite ones because they are very painterly looking and they give a naturalistic media look. Now, if you're painting along traditionally, you want to use your flat wash brush, and you want to use kind of an X-shaped stroke because this makes the sky very smooth looking. And as you go further down towards the horizon, you want to throw in a little bit more white and lighter colors there, because pollution near the horizon always makes the sky appear a little bit lighter at the bottom. So you want to go ahead and use X-shaped strokes to blend these two together, and you want to try to keep kind of not a hard edge at the bottom, because it's hard to cover up when you're painting traditionally, and sometimes digitally as well. Okay, for this I also want to throw in a little bit of color into the sky. You don't want it kind of a flat color, you want a few variations. So use your deoxazine purple if you're using traditional media, or just color pick some purple and throw it in, and use your X-shaped strokes to mix those together to give a smooth sky texture. So now I've added a new layer, which is just kind of like letting it dry if you're using traditional media. Acrylics will dry quicker, but oils will take quite a bit of time depending on what kind of brand they are. Now I've started adding in the grass, and it's going to be kind of a sagebrush green or olive color green. And I'm going to use the Vince brush and tweak the blending a little bit to make it not so transparent. And the colors that we're going to use for this, if you're following along traditionally, are going to be Hooker's green and throw in some cadmium orange with a touch of white, and that will give you this olive color of green. We just want to make rough strokes and make them vertical, up and down, and we want them feathered on the end here because grass is not going to look even, especially this kind of grass that's tall and wild and untended to. So we want the edges to look feathered. And go ahead and use your number 10 bristle brush for this if you're following along traditionally. We want different colors in here. Throw in some oranges and some burnt sienna, some yellows, because grass is not just one solid color. So go ahead and add in different colors to give it variation, to give it a more realistic and natural look. And keep these strokes going up and down, keep adding them. And then go ahead and throw in some purple. And we want to put this mainly in the corners because these are called eye stoppers when you darken the corners. And eye stoppers are when you put objects or colors in your corners of your pictures to keep the viewer's eye from wandering off your painting and keep them interested in your painting. And so here I've switched to the blending brush, and I believe I still have it set on the Vince brush, and this will kind of blend in the colors, and we want to kind of cover up all the white. In this program sometimes you get white streaks and you need to cover them up. And if you're having this problem on a traditional canvas, that means you need to make thicker paint and don't put as much water or paint thinner in your mixture. So I'm just going ahead here and blending in some of the colors. You don't want to try to get rid of all of your color. You want to let the orange and the purple peep through because we don't want the grass to be a monotone color. So just go ahead and add in all these little strokes and try to make it look rough and kind of like real grass does from a distance. And go ahead, and here I decided that I would work on the edges and make them feather out a little bit and make them look uneven because, like I said, grass in the wild is usually not cut even or anything. And so I'm just continuing onward doing that, working on the edges right here, making it look like there's little tufts sticking up, and then going ahead and blending in a little bit more on the edges here and blending down towards the end. Now this is still the underpainting, so it's not going to be your total final detailed look, but you kind of just want indications and strokes of grass blades in here. So I've added a little bit of dark, and you want pockets of dark and light in this to make it look more natural. So I've added some pockets of dark in here, and I'm going to throw in some more colors like orange and purple there at the end to give it a little more interest again, because I've covered it up too much, and so sometimes you have to go back and add colors in again. So I'm going to add some more purple and darken the corners again. You can add any colors that you want. You can add yellows and tans, any kind of grass colors to give it a little bit of interest. Well, that's the end of part 1 for this lesson. In part 2, we will cover painting clouds and old wooden fence posts. If you have any questions for me, just leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.